Midwets. Man, persuasion up to 90. I would love to get that maxed. Honestly, I think doing more work is probably the way to go. I wouldn't mind getting the reasoning up a bit as well. Maybe one more session of work. Here, does this tell us where the colony security? 60%. Okay, good to know. Let's assist the governor. You help mediate an argument between two people who can't decide how to split the shared space outside the residences. You're able to pull up the council minutes where it was decided that communal spaces must be utilized for the maximum enjoyment of all connected private spaces, regardless of proximity to entrances and windows. You tell the two complainants that they must figure out a way to equitably share the space or leave it empty for maximum utility. You're proud that you managed to solve this problem without putting it on the governor's desk. We can get a 9, we can get a 9. Pair of 5s. Might as well put it here. Actually, here's what you do. That's what you do. Super goal reached. Alright, that's some good persuasion. Okay, late wets. Oh, hey Mars, how you doing? You're not Mars. Here, I'll give you a hug, why not? Okay. Hey Mars! Mars and Nami are bent over one of Nami's sketchbooks. Mars is talking animatedly with expansive hand gestures. Nami is nodding along and taking notes. No, Mars exclaims. This neckline needs bolder lines, and down here, lots and lots of extra fabric. And make this part gold. I want to scream. I don't have to work like everybody else. I'm only here to look beautiful and have people adore me. But we do have to work, Nami pouts. Nanoprinting is restricted to these kinds of materials. It costs kudos. Mars rolls her eyes. That's the point. That's the point? Nami huffs. Not everyone's got as many kudos as you, Marzipan. Especially us Helios. We didn't have any at all when we landed. If I wanted to wear something other than uniforms, I usually trade or mod old clothes instead of printing new ones. Mars looks appalled. You trade clothes? You don't even sell them to each other for kudos? These jokers here from the Helio, they were operating on a barter-based economy. It's ridiculous. It is so ridiculous. That is so several millennia ago. Right? A barter-based economy, please. Nami shrugs and tucks their hair behind her ear. Yeah. It's just some kids can't afford to print this kind of clothing, right? So you're losing out on them as potential customers, so maybe you could design clothes that are pretty, but also made from common materials so everybody can have them. Nami smiles brightly. Then maybe when you're in charge, you can get rid of kudos entirely. It doesn't seem right that we trade kudos for extra stuff when we're all supposed to have only what we need anyway. Well, yeah. Guess that's the theory behind a commune. Is that what this is, a commune? I'm not even sure, technically. Nami packs up their sketchbook and leaves, and Mars turns to you with a thoughtful look. Oh, Nami doesn't know that I was the one who started selling things for kudos in the first place. My dads keep saying I shouldn't do that because hoarding kudos and treating them like currency will cause, she makes quotations marks in there with her fingers, wealth inequality. Which, I mean, clearly has already occurred, but if I'm the beneficiary of it, I really don't care. Do you think they might be right? I mean, the Helios are kind of broke, I guess, in theory. I'm still not actually clear what kudos actually are from a currency perspective. Probably ones and zeros, but still. Oh, Mars says, tapping her chin. I mean, I knew the Helios were tragic, but I just thought they had terrible taste, you know? The uniforms and the haircuts. I didn't know it was because they were poor. I really don't think that kudos make everything unequal, Mars continues. Like, you can always work harder if you want something nice, right? That's what I do. Mars looks genuinely troubled. It's great that we have everything we need. Well, as long as there's not a weird disease or famine or whatever. But we're still poor, you know? She sighs. We're poor in culture. Like, yes, every colonist has a steaming pile of mashed trivet every morning, noon, and night, but what if I want to watch a Holovid I haven't seen a million cajillion times? Mars puts her hands on her head. When we only focus on survival, who's making the Holovids, and the symphonies, and the gourmet food? She throws her arms in the air and shouts, "We have everything we need, but we are poor. Poor people don't care about art." Fair enough, Mars. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? You should look into that. Might answer some questions you're having. Mars snaps her fingers. That being said, I will say, there's evidence that, like, you got, like, cave paintings and stuff. So even when you are in tough situations where it's, a struggle just to survive, that doesn't preclude you from making art, from, engaging in culture, as it were. No, I've got it. I am a genius. If the adults won't incentivize the creative class, we need to do it ourselves. We'll call it patronage. It'll be great. We need to get the adults on board with adopting kudos and using it to pay for luxury goods. Instead of slaving away in the depot or the kitchen, people like Nami could be artisans. She grabs you by the shoulders. If we have an actual creative class, maybe we can get some culture on this stupid rock. Yeah, incentivizing the creation of creative works. That sounds like a solid plan. I can't believe I never thought of it before, she says, clearly possessed with a beautiful vision. I am the richest teenager in the colony, but what good is it if there's nothing to buy? Here I am, sitting on more kudos than I could ever use, and I could have been using it to kickstart the creative economy. I could be a patron of the arts. You could. Mars releases you and pulls up the finances screen of her holopalm. You catch a glimpse of her balance, which is more kudos than you ever made in a year, at least. Yes, good, Mars says, thinking out loud. More than enough to start. She looks at you. Well, Solana, she says, imperiously, you'll join me, right? Let's give away some kudos. Sure, here's 10 kudos. Absolutely, take 100. Take one. Please don't be a scam, but take 100 kudos. Mars's eyes go wide as she sees 100 kudos landed in her account. Oh, daddy, she laughs, fixing you with a wicked sigh. I didn't know you were so generous. Indeed. You just dropped 100 kudos. You can be a bit, boastful about it. More from where that came from. Mars throws back her head and laughs, delighted that you played along. Oh, aren't you fun, she says. All right, we're going to get the arts started, which is great, because I myself am a creative individual. All right, let's see. Can we get Persuasion max today? Probably not, but we could definitely have it max before the end of the year. Like, we could max it out in Glow if we don't get it now. Let's see. Let's study the humanities. This month, you've decided to explore pre-holographic media on Earth, which is a pretty great excuse to kick back and watch movies all day. It's hard to believe that all movies used to be 2D. Boring! Feels too much like learning to be fun. Okay, what are we gonna do here? Card becomes social. Okay. Well, in that case. Do we seriously have no gems? Crazy. Okay, so we got this. We can do like a bit of... That's already social. Why would you do that? Okay, well, I think what you want is you want to get like some 3s going. Or you do this. Or you do that. Why is this becoming... Oh, because... Okay, that makes sense. I guess we can do a pair of 4s. That's fun. There we go. Okay, hold on. There's a better way to go about this, surely. Okay, so let's say, for example, because we actually have a decent amount of, like, that. Yeah, this becomes a 5, then this is a 6, and now we don't have any 4s. Great. But what we do have is we do have 3s, like this. We could turn this into a 4. No, we turned it into a 5 because it's yellow. Whatever. 5 stress. It's fine. Okay, we're at 97 persuasion. Glow. How's everyone feeling about the glow? What do you think, Tangent? Stands to reason there will be some sort of attack this glow, as there has been in other years, Tank says, looking out towards the walls. It's my hypothesis that each attack will grow in intensity until we are routed from the planet or become the dominant species. With how difficult this year was on our food supplies, we are certainly entering this season at a disadvantage. Hey, Tangent. Have you ever wanted a strange device? Tank shrugs. You should probably just keep it. I don't even know what to do with that. When you insist she keep it, she shrugs again. Sure, maybe I'll find a use for it. Okay. I think everyone has basically the same text to say about glow. Anything new, Dis? Okay, yeah. Nature's gonna win in the end. Thanks for being an absolute ray of sunshine in this glow season, Dis. Okay. Let us assist the governor. Get our persuasion maxed. You can't help but think anyone would be a better governor than Lum. No, scratch that. A trippet sandwich would be better. Complaining about him is something that unites you and Mars when you're both up to your necks in bureaucratic nonsense. Talking about how she would do better in Lum's position is Mars's favorite topic of conversation. And actually here, I will actually side here. I know oftentimes I play devil's advocate and point out that Lum isn't doing that bad a job, but one thing worth noting. The colony in large part arguably turned around not due to his shift in policy, but just because the Helios brought with it a whole bunch of more resources, right? One could make the argument, perhaps quite effectively, that the resources would be better spent, better utilized in someone else's hands. That he's been successful thus far because of the wealth of resources the Helios brought with it, but someone else spending them a bit more wisely could potentially be doing even better and setting us up better for the long term. So I don't necessarily disagree that Lum isn't a great governor. Let's get to work. Okay, what are we gonna do? There, become yellow. There. And this, and this. Are these getting harder? Yeah, this should never be on the edge. Yeah, it's 20 stress. I could have gotten a 37. You're just putting your boots on together, or to grab dinner in the lounge, when you hear the colony's sirens begin to wail. It's the yearly attack. Couldn't they have waited until you ate dinner? Rude. Outside your window, you watch the colony defense begin to mobilize. Your hall pum chimes with the usual reminders for all civilian colonists to stay indoors. Luckily, I'm not a civilian. Well, I probably am, technically, but yeah. I'm joining the defense. I'm brave. You head to the garrison to grab a plasma rifle, then report to the front. Chief Red looks surprised to see you, but assigns you to a squad with an enemy and tells you to get up on the walls and do your best. On the other side of the wall is more Xenos than you've seen in one place ever. They seethe out of the forest, large and small, herbivorous and predatory, fungal and otherwise, flying and crawling and hopping towards the colony with a single-minded determination. The air fills with the phew of laser turrets and the crackle of plasma rifles. The enemy's front line collapses, only to be replaced by even more Xenos, just as many as before, if not more. There's no end to it. The firebreak turns into a graveyard of dead and dying alien bodies, wave after wave crawling over the corpses until they roil at the base of the walls like the foam on a wave when it hits the shore. You hear the walls creaking underneath you, but they hold strong. There's no sun to set in glow, but night falls on the battlefield without any break in the fighting. Your fingers begin to cramp from pulling the trigger of your plasma rifle. Finally, you're relieved by the second guard shift. You walk straight into the garrison and right into a dreamless sleep. You're woken 6 hours later for your next shift. The kitchens have provided the soldiers with pressed soy rations and hot blep tea, which you grab, then make your way back to the walls to survey the carnage of the night. As you arrive, your hall-palm lights up with a priority message. "Security personnel! We are under siege," the security chief says, getting right to the point. "On Earth, sieges were used to break a city's starvation or drought. We have plenty of food and water. Guards will rotate 6 hours on, 6 hours off. So long as we keep the Xenos on the other side of the wall, we can hold them off for days. Weeks, even." "Weeks?" Everyone exchanges exhausted looks. He pauses and adds, "We can do this. We're stronger than them, and we're not going anywhere." You and the other soldiers fall into a fitful rhythm, alternating shifts on the wall with brief snippets of sleep. Gunfire becomes the soundtrack of your days, which begin to smear together like paste. An enemy in particular is suffering. She volunteers for relief shifts, sometimes pulling doubles or triples on the wall. You catch her mechanically shoveling soy porridge into her mouth before seeming to fall asleep sitting up. A minute later, she jolts awake as someone's spoon clatters against their bowl. Tempers grow short as fatigue sets in. 6 days pass. I will say, this is tough, the siege warfare they're engaging in now, but it's better than getting those facelesses to come and try to attack us. You're on shift watching the Xenos batter themselves against the walls. You feel your eyes unfocused at the sheer formless horde of them. In all these days, they still haven't reached the colony. Sometimes they even seem to retreat, ebbing backwards and reforming somewhere else. It's behavior you've never seen before. A group of monsters breaks from the tree line. Nothing new. Except for one of them. One of the Xenos looks different from the others. Almost humanoid. What is that thing? The creature looks suspiciously like a person, at least from the waist up. Down below, it's a lumbering chimera vaguely reminiscent of a faceless, wrapped in tattered bits of flesh and bony protrusions. Something like hair flutters behind it as it turns, looks right at you, with an unnerving, malevolent intelligence. You rub your eyes. Yeah, it's still there. It approaches to the base of the wall, and the other monsters surge forward on to pound against the gates. I can shoot at it with my combat skill of 8. But, what was the point in maxing out persuasion if when strange, humanoid, potentially intelligent Xeno comes up, we don't try to at least talk at it, or talk to it? This could go very poorly. You wave to it and the creature sneers at you, to your surprise. And the creature sneers at you. You wave to it and the creature sneers, and, to your surprise, approaches the wall. Little weed. They address you in a halting, rasping voice. Everything seemed to go quiet nearby as you strain to understand this talking horror. Also, please note, it understands our language. This is concerning. Child of breeding rabbits. Feral pig. Kudzu. How do you know what a kudzu is? Or rabbits or pigs, for that matter. Its unnervingly human gaze pierces you. Introduced species. You understand. You wonder if you're hallucinating. Is that holding a gun? You slowly nod yes. You understand the words, at least. I am noctuliscent, the monster says through a voice box that seems better suited to guttural roars than human language. A gardener. Designation. Pest control. You realize with growing horror that this creature's hair is actually alive somehow, waving in a wind that isn't there. The clicky, clacky bits wave and snap at you as if they have minds of their own. You can't look away. Okay, so we got Bring It On, You Ugly Asshole. If we're trying to be diplomatic about this, that's probably not the right call. Why are you trying to kill us and what do you want? Are you trying to kill us is right to the point, but what do you want I think is more neutral. It allows for... It's less accusatory, which I think is beneficial as we're opening this line of communication between our peoples. Who are you talking to? You jump as an enemy sneaks up behind you, and when you look back, Noctilucent is gone. Delusions probably isn't great, but like, that alien was talking! You babble about the talking monster named Noctilucent, but an enemy thinks you're having some kind of mental breakdown. The siege is getting to everyone, Solana, she says, patting you on the shoulder. If you're freaking out, go lie down. I'll cover for you. Finally, after the 6th day of the siege, you look down the sights of your plasma rifle and see a curious thing. The monsters are retreating. As you gather with the other soldiers in the colony square, your holopod lights up with a priority announcement from Governor Lum. The alien attackers have been defeated, he says. The siege has ended. Lum smiles broadly and puffs out his chest. Another year, another win. You're welcome, Vertumna. You're welcome, humanity. You're welcome? You hear and see Chief Rhett nearby looking livid. What did he do? He rants to his security officers. Race out there like an idiot with his honor guard, defend strategically unsound positions, put himself in danger so we had to save his overstuffed ass. The soldiers all shift uncomfortably, but no one disagrees. And when I actually needed him, Rhett continues, taking his 12-hour beauty rest, while the rest of us slog through the endless shifts. The soldiers are exhausted from the siege, so the crowd in the square disperses quickly. Only a few Helios remained, covertly filming Rhett while he continues to rail against Lum. Ooh, that's gonna come back to bite him. On the horizon, the first rays of quiet streak the sky with lavender. You watch Utopia's reclamation crew head out through the gates to begin vaporizing xenocorpses for their component molecules. That night, you have terrible dreams. You imagine that you're sieging the colony, that you're a creature crawling in the mud on your belly, the ooze crackle of plasma rifle fire arcing overhead. With your taloned claws, you rip into the walls like they're made of clay, stuffing choking handfuls of it in your mouth. In a moment of lucidity, you try to pull the clay from your throat, but no matter how hard you pull, it just never ends. You jolt awake when you realize you've been pulling your own guts out of your throat. It's just a dream. You're shaking and coated in a film of terror sweat, your heart pounding. You don't find sleep again before dawnbreak. Well. Age 18. Okay, so I'm up to the highest of heights, got a radioactive plant, a news report, enthusiasm, dishing the dirt, focus, delusions. Great stuff. I actually lost a relationship with Vase because, apparently we're just completely incompatible. But I actually gained some relationship with Tangent, Mars, Rex, Dis, Nami. And of course, 1 empathy, 25 persuasion, 9 creativity, 2 bravery, 10 reasoning, 12 organizing, 10 engineering, 1 biology, 6 perception, and 5 animals. Well then, age 18. Oh, and a new perk! Social boost. +1 social increase. +1 to social increases. So I guess it helps us get the rest of that whole thing quicker. Well, I guess that'll be useful. Oh, man. I wonder, surely that alien must have been real. We didn't just imagine that, right? Surely. Probably.